I am Maria from Nancy's Notions, and today we're going to talk about some of the easiest ways to bind your quilts. I'm going to be showing you the Creative Quilt Binding book and template, along with one of my favorite samples to demonstrate. It's the reversible binding, so it's one color on the front, and if I turn it over, it's a second color on the back. So if you're doing a reversible project, this is the perfect finish so that you can match both sides. If you've ever been quilting and you accidentally use some of your binding fabric on something else and now you're running short, this technique is excellent for this because one of the strips or one of the colors is only cut 1 inch wide, and on my ruler here they are clearly marked. This is the 1 inch mark for the smaller piece, and the larger one is only cut 2 inches. So now I've got options. If I've only got a smidge left, I'm going to use that for the smallest piece and use the other one that I've chosen for the larger. So I'm going to prepare my fabric to cut my strips, and I like to fold it selvage to selvage and then fold that selvage right up to the fold evenly. I'm going to take a look at my ruler and find my 1 inch mark for the reversible binding that's even labeled right there for you. Line that line up on the raw edge and cut my strips. Depending how big your quilt is, you're going to need as many strips as the quilt is large to cover all the way around the edge. So we'll do a couple here. So there is one side of my binding. And take your second color and do the same, folding it again. Take a look at your ruler again, and here is the second mark for the reversible binding, also clearly labeled. Line that up on the edge and cut a couple strips. Now you're going to treat them just like you would your regular binding by joining them end to end, and join all of these end to end, and then we'll put them both together. To assemble this binding, I'm first going to put my strips together with a mitered seam because that will help distribute the bulk in the binding. So I'm going to line them up perpendicular like this and stitch across. And to save a little bit of time, we'll line the blue ones up as well. So I'm going to lay one strip straight and the other one perpendicular over it and stitch this mitered seam. Now I'm going to trim these and press them open. We have stitched a mitered seam, all of the blues together and all of the oranges together. I'm going to line them up right sides together, and I'm going to flip the blue over so the seam is on the bottom and this seam of the orange is on top, and it's going to look just like this before I stitch it together. And using a 1/4 inch seam, here we go. And there we go. Basically what I've created is a bicolored strip of fabric to use as my binding in order to get that reversible effect. So now I'm going to go press this seam open, because if I don't, it's not going to roll around the edge of your quilt. Here the seam is pressed open, and we're going to fold it in half just like a traditional double fold, but look what happens. You have 2 colors appearing on one side and only one on the other. And I've adjusted the position of the needle on my machine, so from the needle to the side of this presser foot is now 1/4 inch, so I can apply the binding with a 1/4 inch seam. So now to get started, I want a little bit of extra on top of my quilt sandwich, and this is just a small square just so we can show you this technique. Whichever side your small strip matches is the side you're going to apply this to. So when you put it on the quilt, it's going to look like you've buried that second color, but this is correct. So I've only stitched this little corner. Now I'm going to turn the corner by folding my binding up and away from the quilt, forming a straight line from the edge of the quilt all the way up on the binding. And I'm going to fold it right back down, keeping this fold even with the top edge of the quilt. So I should have a little fish fin that shows up on the corners. And there's my little fish fin. Here's my final corner, and I only need to stitch about 1 inch to just tack it down before I finish the raw edges. And there we go. So to finish off, it looks like this, but I'm going to fold it back about midway from where I started and stopped stitching. And here's a pressing point, and you want to bring the other end up to the same exact spot and also give it a press right there. I'm using the straight end of the ruler to just draw that crease line that we made so that I can use the line on the tip there. Fold that binding strip as flat as you can, and now this is your new angled stitching line for putting the two ends together. I need to do this on the opposite side as well. It's a black line to the crease line, but I flipped the ruler the other way because I want 2 different angles there. And there we go. You can take your rotary cutter if you wish, or a pair of scissors, and cut on that angled line that you drew. You're going to pair them up like this. And if you could see through it, your seams are going to match right there so that when you stitch, it looks like a continuous line. I'm going to take a couple pins to hold it together. Because the quilt's going to fight you a little bit since it's stitched here and here. So by pinning, I don't lose my grasp. Use a 1/4 inch seam now to join the 2 strips. And here's my mitered seam that I'm going to press open and then press it all in half again so it looks the same all the way around the quilt. Look at how beautiful that lays on top of the quilt. So now that we've got it all stitched on, it looks like the blue is on this side, but when I fold this up and away from the quilt, there's my bicolor. And when I roll it around to the opposite side, your blue disappears while the orange remains on the front. And when I flip it around, there's no orange, but just the blue to show on this side. Right now I'm folding the binding over to the back side, and I'm mitering my corners. I've got it pinned up to here. Now to miter this corner, I'm going to fold it right over the edge of the quilt there. Look at that nice mitered seam that shows up. So now what I did is selected a decorative stitch, and this one's going to go across the middle to the left, across the middle to the right. Made the width as wide as it will go, which is a 7, and the length to a 3.5. So I'm going to put my quilt underneath the foot here, and because this stitch goes left and right of center, I'm going to line up the center part of the foot right on the edge of my binding to do this decorative stitch. So when you're done, you will have blue on one side and orange on the other, and you have a reversible quilted project. So this reversible technique and others can be found in this book, and it comes with the tool and lots of great illustrations and instructions to help you along your binding way. And if you like this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up down below and leave us comments. Thanks so much for watching.